Hey, sis, and welcome back to Talks with Tamron podcast, your space for faith fueled conversations, real life healing, and unapologetic thriving. We are right in the middle of our Thrive series, a special season of the podcast that's inspired by my devotional Thrive Sister Thrive. If you haven't gotten your copy, go ahead and get your copy today. It's available on Amazon. And along with that, if you have not joined the 21-day Thrive Sister Thrive Challenge, I challenge you to join it, and you can join that all on my website at tamronlittle.com. So today's episode is Stay Ready and Positioned for the Promise. So let's be honest. Sometimes we're praying, but we're not preparing. We're hoping, but we're not positioning ourselves. And sis, God is calling us to do both. And so I couldn't have thought of a better person to walk through this with us than today's special guest, my sis, Tash Haynes. She's a powerhouse mama, creative entrepreneur, and a woman of deep intentional faith. So let's welcome our guest, my thriving sis, Tasha Haynes.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming on and joining us today for this topic. And we have been talking before.
Yes.
So this this one right here, this is the episode that y'all need to go ahead and just sit down, get your coffee, get your latte, get your water, get your tea, get your energy drink, okay? We have, already been talking. So let's jump right in. So what has staying ready looked like in your journey as a mom, creative wife, and a woman of God?
Ooh, that's good. I feel like staying ready, that's a really great question. I don't know that I've ever really considered it before, but I think staying ready really is just like being tapped in, being tuned in to what is happening around you and also being flexible. I don't know that we can ever prepare for what's coming, but I think it's paying attention to
Mm-hmm.
the shifts and the seasons and the things that are going on so that you can adapt. When we don't know what's coming, it's hard to prepare ahead of time, but I think it's like a heart posture of I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how things are going, but if I'm tuned in enough, I'm going to catch when there's a shift happening and
Yeah.
I'm going to meet the moment for when that shift is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's what that means. It means okay, let me be aware of this isn't working anymore, or this doesn't feel aligned anymore, or this doesn't resonate anymore. Let me not try to keep trying to force this square into this
Mm-hmm.
round, try to keep these things going that don't make sense. Let me pause for a second and go, wait, what is happening right now in my body, in my mind, in my emotions, in my family, in this season? And is it aligned anymore? And being okay with letting it go, not
Mm-hmm.
being afraid to surrender it and go, okay, I don't know what the next thing is, but I'm just gonna sit here and wait and be ready for whatever
Mm-hmm.
that may look like.
Wow. Yeah, that was awesome right there. And two, being ready or staying ready does not mean that you have it all figured out.
Right.
It means, just like you said, being there in the moment, being faithful with what you have. Now we were kind of getting on this a little bit ago. So
Mhm.
can you enlighten them on, what we were talking about,
Yeah.
learning during this journey, during your season of not only getting what God has for you, but keeping what God has for you?
Yeah. So last year at this time, my life looked very different. Full time, I'm a full time photographer with my husband. We have a business that we run for the last 16 years, and then during the pandemic pivoted into content creation, and so I've been doing influencing for the last Courage is turning 7, so about 7 years now, intentionally, creating content for the internet, and, those have been, my streams of income, and I was signed by a management company last year at this time, and life just looked really different. Last year at this time, things started to kind of shift, like what I was just saying, things were not feeling aligned anymore, things were feeling a little just, wonky, and I just started feeling really uncomfortable, and I found that in my life when God is getting ready to do something, I'm really uncomfortable. He makes it very hard for me to stay in places that no longer suit me, fit me, whatever, for wherever he's trying to take me or whatever he's trying to save me from.
Mhm.
So it was my friendship circle started feeling real spicy and weird and uncomfortable. This management company I was working with, it was starting to feel like our morals and values weren't matching up.
Mhm.
And I was starting to feel very isolated and alone. And fast forward into fall, I am on vacation with my family and I come back home from that trip and I find out that my landlord is selling the house that we live in. And we've lived in it for 10 years. So at this point, it just kind of feels like everything is starting to kind of fall apart in my life. I'm now
Mhm.
quitting this agency. We're about to be homeless in the next couple months if we don't figure out what we're going to do. And I don't feel like I have like this circle of support around me to like get me through because my friendships are
Mhm.
feeling a little weird
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
So we had a friend who encouraged us to look into purchasing a home, and
Mhm.
we were just like, "This is not in the cards for us. Like,
Mhm.
this is not the season for us to be purchasing anything right now." And yeah, it was just like the numbers weren't there. None of the numbers were there, and it just didn't
Mhm.
make sense. There was this little tiny voice that was just like, "If you don't try, you'll never know."
That's right.
And mm, and it's better to get a no and no than to not try at all and wonder. And
Mm.
so my husband and I started the process of home ownership. We got rejected. But in that rejection, our community kind of heard what we were going through and they stepped up to the plate and they
Mhm.
helped us to make this thing happen. And so we ended up getting approved for a loan with the help of actually one of my high school teachers.
Oh.
And we started the home buying process and we found a home that we loved and we started escrow in December. And then Trump decided to lay off people at the IRS, and we had a little bit of an IRS debt that we hadn't it was actually not little at all, if I'm being perfectly
Mhm.
honest, but we had a plan for how we were gonna resolve that, and I don't know anybody in the home buying process, you can't have, like, any liens or any, like, big, huge debts, so we had to, like, get that resolved before we could close on our house.
Mhm.
Well, we started the process of, like, getting on a payment plan with the IRS. They essentially ignored us for 2.5 months, and we ended up losing the house. And
Mm.
so this journey was just it was so hard because we also had a timeline. It wasn't like we had all of this time. We had to be out of our
Mhm.
PER.
Right.
Long story short, we ended up paying off our $60,000 IRS debt.
Wow.
Part of it was forgiven and disappeared and fell off, and it was because of the process and the time and the statute of limitations for how debts work with the IRS that it fell off. And I was able to look back, and while I was weary and discouraged and wasn't sure, like, if this thing that I saw for myself was actually gonna happen. In fact, I didn't even see it for myself, to be real. But
Mhm.
once we tasted the possibility, I was like,
Mhm.
"Dang, I want this thing," right?
Yeah.
And so we started the home buying process in November of 2024. We didn't close on a house until April. And over
Mhm.
the course of that 6 or 7 months, I was very, very discouraged. I was very
Mhm.
disappointed. I actually can feel the emotions rise up in me right now because I remember just how confused I was and how
Mhm.
I wasn't sure if I had heard God right.
Mhm.
It felt like everything was moving so well, and then it
Mhm.
just stopped, and it just didn't
Mhm.
make sense. I didn't understand what
Yeah.
God was doing. I didn't understand, like, why we were hitting all these walls.
Mhm.
And now that we've been in our home for almost 3 months, August 2nd, it'll be 3 months, I can look back and I see that it's one thing to have the promise, but it is another thing to keep it. And
Yep.
over the course of those 7 months, God showed me the promise. But in that time that we were feeling that disappointment and that overwhelm and that frustration and what we felt was rejection, He was actually building up the
Mhm.
keeping the promise. He
Mhm.
was teaching me how to steward the thing that He was getting ready to give me. And
Wow.
so over the course of that time, like we brought everything in. We learned how to live with less. We stopped eating out. We started making different choices financially. We started paying off debt. We started seeing how some of the choices that we had made had gotten us to this point, and it
Mhm.
was and we were upset and we were ashamed, and
Mhm.
God dealt with that shame in us and taught us, how to do things and move differently. And so now we have like 3 months of mortgage payments in savings at all times.
Ooh.
Like
Praise
we're
the.
do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're like my mind is like not, "What can I get now?"
Mhm.
to my mind is like, when you give me this money, I got to put this money away. How can I make this money grow for me so that I can make sure that we can keep what we want and we can have other things that will help one do kingdom work because that's what we feel
Yep.
like our house is about, but
Yep.
also like like that we can steward for more. Like how do we
Mhm.
actually grow gifts and talents into more for the kingdom, not
Mhm.
for ourselves? And so I just learned so much and God changed my heart so much in that time and he really really taught me a lot and I can look back now and go,
What you was doing, guy?
well, that's what we're doing, but in the moment, I could not see it, but my heart was soft
Mhm.
and I was surrendered to receive whatever
Mhm.
it was doing, even if it meant that we may not get the result that I hoped for. And I think that was a part of like me staying ready. Whatever's going to happen, I know that God is in it and I know it's for my good and I trust him. So I'm going to just sit in this and
Mhm.
see where it takes me. Thank God though.
Mm.
He put the promise
Love
in
it.
my head, but
And,
yeah.
a lot of scriptures came to mind, but one in particular is Habakkuk 2 and 2. And write the vision and make it plain. Though it tarry, wait for it.
Mm,
My gosh, like, whoo, and don't be weary and well doing. I mean, I don't know, I'm just in awe. Our stories have a lot of relatability to it, and when you were talking about when God makes you uncomfortable,
child.
a lot of times we be wanting to be comfortable, but there are seasons in our lives when God is like, "No, I want you to be uncomfortable because if you're not, you're not going to move."
Well,
If you
and then nothing good comes out of being comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to see really any progress in comfort.
Mhm.
It's only in being uncomfortable that we
Mhm.
are put in position to
Growth takes place.
that's it, grow, to change, to
Mhm.
be disciplined, it
Mhm.
is the
Mhm.
discomfort that calls us
Mhm.
to action.
Yep. I mean, I do believe that we go through things not only to learn from them, but to encourage someone else. And I did not know this until now, like right now, sis. Like God has gave me a revelation, okay? I'm talking about thriving. I done wrote a book on thriving, did a challenge on thriving, and I did not realize what the true lion factor of thriving is about. It's about being uncomfortable because when you are thriving, that means that you have been placed in a season or in a situation which says no, which says not, which says the opposite. There's
Mm,
underlining in there that's not appropriated with life. So you have to thrive from it, thriving through this season, because there are some parts of our lives that we're not thriving in that need some life. So where there's life, there's thriving going on. And, as I told you before, I'm going through a lot of transitions, in my life with my oldest son going to college. We're moving 3 states, back home, we're downsizing. So, which I don't see I'm not sad about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm not upset. I'm just in awe of what God is doing, because like you said before, when God blesses us with something, he says, if you be faithful over a few things, you will
yeah,
be ruler of many. So we have to be faithful and good stewards of what we have. And it's not about getting this, getting that, getting this, getting that. Just like you said before, it's about being faithful over what you do have.
yeah.
And so I see myself as we are moving, and one scripture too is the Jabez prayer that I have been praying too.
Bless
You
me
know,
indeed.
bless me indeed, enlarge my territory. May your hand be with me and keep me from evil and don't let it harm me. We're going into this new or in this season, and I'm just like, wow, I'm just like, wow, like I just can't say anything else. It's just like I have so many journals, I have so many notebooks where I have wrote the vision and made it plain. And God is like, I'm going to do this for you, but it may not look like
Right, that part.
how you had it planned. It may not look like every step that you have down, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in my way.
Mm,
And, doing it his way is the right way. And, like you said before, is like so many times that I have caught myself trying to make things work, trying to put a circle into a square.
yeah,
You may fit it in there, but you're going to have all these areas where you have gaps and spaces.
right, and it's gonna be janky. It's gonna be janky. It's so interesting that you're saying this because I'm actually reading First Samuel right now, and this morning I was reading about, how the Israelites were, like, begging Samuel for a king, and
Mhm.
how God was like, "Okay, well, tell the people, like, I'll give them a king," which
Mhm.
is had a king. You had the best king,
Yep,
and he
yep.
was taking care of you, and he was protecting you. And we always just go for the counterfeits. It's just so sad. But anyway, I thought it was really interesting. I was reading this morning about how, God went to the smallest tribe and took the most insecure man and put his spirit in him. And he was like, "This is your king. And as
Mhm.
long as you're king and you guys follow the rules, I'll protect you." And I just think even in our, like, he's so kind because even when we're trying to push squares into circles, he
Mhm.
still is like, "Okay, Tosh, okay, Tamron, you're doing it like this. This is not really what I had planned for you, but I'm gonna still walk with you
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
help you make this really janky situation work
Mhm. Mhm.
until you get it."
Mhm.
And it's I don't know, I think that God is so kind that even when we are wanting a king, that he still is, like, with us
Mhm.
to help us figure it out, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, because he was still with the Israelites, even though they were so hard-headed.
Yeah, yeah.
But, sometimes I'm like, "Dang, am I being an Israelite? 'Cause I'm being so hard."
I am an Israelite. I am an Israelite, I am Saul, I am David, I am a mess, baby. I am all the things. I read the Bible for the first time ever all the way through last year, and I've been reading it, and I have a group of people that are reading it with me this year.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I just was so humbled because it's so
Mhm.
easy to talk about the Israelites like they were just, like, such losers and dummies, and then you start reading it and realize, "Wow, I am so much like them,
Mhm. Mhm.
just in every way, every
D
day."
with the complaining, and when God puts you in a situation to deliver you, but you still trying to go the other way. 'Cause you think that's the best way, but God is like, "No."
Yeah,
I
I know nothing, and I definitely every day have to humble myself and remind myself that I don't know a thing,
Mhm,
and,
mhm.
have to really every day ask God to, like, guide me through. I am a mess, and I just I don't be knowing, so Imma need you right here next to
Yeah,
me. Don't leave me.
same here. I'm like, "Lord, I don't wanna do nothing without you. Go before me and
Yeah.
make my crooked path straight."
Yes.
Definitely. And another thing that I wanted to, touch on is while we wait, while we're being faithful over the things that God has blessed us with while we're in these transitions in our different seasons of our lives, the posture, is there a perfect posture, or what type of, or, for women that may not know what that means, it, means your stance, how you're getting ready, how you're preparing, what, movements that you are making. And we were talking about this earlier too, but I think the posture is to keep showing up.
Yeah, I agree 100%. To keep showing up with a positive attitude,
Mhm,
with a heart of gratitude and thankfulness, even when you can't, like, see
mhm,
what's
mhm,
happening, you
mhm,
know? I feel like people are always like, "You gotta praise him in the middle of the storm," and I never really understood that, but it's
mhm,
like, you have to we talked about this earlier, Matthew 9:29, I'm looking at it because it's on a Post-it note, and it's just a reminder for me that I keep in my office, but it says, "Be it unto you according to your faith." It's, God leaves all of his ability up to our faith. And so, in a waiting season, what your posture should be is one of that believes God
Yep.
and believes what he says, like, you should be full of faith
Mhm.
even if you can't see it,
Mm.
because that is God is counting on. He is leaving his abilities in the hands of your faith and what you believe to be true about him. So if you have small faith and you believe that God is not going to do the thing, then you're not giving God much to work with.
That's
He's
right.
partnering with us. And if we believe that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly beyond what we can think, ask, imagine, all of the
Mhm.
things, then he's going to meet us right there. And it also means that we're gonna rise to the occasion, to whatever the actions are behind those things that need to take place.
Mm.
We were trying to buy our house, we had to come up with almost $50,000. We didn't have money, we were living paycheck to paycheck, so coming up with $50,000 was not something that I saw to be, like, realistic or
Mm.
easy to do, but
Mhm.
I believed that God had this house for us. So I
Mhm.
started trying to figure out what we could do
Mhm.
and willing to do what it took
Mm.
to figure it.
Yeah.
And that is I think that was the posture of my heart, that I, 1, believed what he said, 2, my faith was big enough to believe that it could be done, and
Mhm.
because of that result, I was willing to rise to the occasion and do what need to be done,
Mhm.
whether that was working more, taking on more campaigns. In this particular case, what I ended up doing, which felt so like shameful,
Mm.
I looked for a job, and I've been self-employed for 15 years at that
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
Going back to work felt like failure to me. It felt like something that I couldn't do, didn't wanna do. What were people gonna think? But I had to go, "Well, do I wanna be concerned with what people are gonna think, or do I want this legacy,
Yep.
this promise for my family?" And my husband, God bless him, he is a hard worker and a really wonderful man,
Mhm.
but he doesn't have the academics, the education that would get him a job that would be, financially beneficial enough for him to be out of the home for the amount of
Yeah.
time that it would take. So
Mhm.
that responsibility unfortunately fell on me, and I was really frustrated about that, and I had to get over it really fast
Mm.
and go, "Okay, I have these degrees, I have this education, I have this experience that will allow me to go get a job that will pay me what we need,
Mhm.
easy lift." But if he goes and gets a job, he's gonna be out of the house for 40 hours a week, and we're still not gonna get what we need to get.
Yep. Yep.
That's where everybody's getting laid off and you're competing now with people who,
Mhm.
it was just crazy. So I had to humble myself and go, I'm gonna do this for my family.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
gonna do and if that means I can't travel as much, if that means I can't do this Instagram career, then you know what? I'm just gonna have to do this. It doesn't have to be forever. I ended up finding a job where the people at the job understood what I did in my personal life, and they were
Mhm.
willing to work with me. Like, they saw the value in my gifts
Yeah.
beyond, like, and so I get to do all of the things that
Mm.
I do as long as the work is done, and
Mhm.
it's full remote. So I'm at home, able to work my other 2 jobs, I get to plan my schedule
Wow.
based on it. I have a full-time 40-hour-a-week job while also being able to still do all my other stuff, and my life
Wow.
really hasn't changed much except that you know, I have a job now, and so I have to, like, really, be good about managing my time and stuff, but yeah, so I was able to do
Felt
this
aligned.
thing. Yeah, yeah, but again, right, it's the faith that that activates you to do the thing that needs to be done, and if I wouldn't have believed that I could find something that would not encroach on my lifestyle or the things
Mhm.
that make me happy, I would not have there's just so many things that I would have done differently, and so I just feel so thankful, like, I found a job with someone who understands, like, the gifts that I carry and
Mhm.
doesn't want to stop doing the things that I love,
Mm.
and as long as I can do my job, there's no issues with anything, and I've been able to do my job, which has been incredible, and more than that, I've fallen in love with the job, and it's brought a lot of balance into my life, and I didn't know that I needed that, and it's
Mhm.
brought a lot of structure into my life,
Yeah.
and it's giving me, like, a new purpose and activated these other gifts and talents that I have that, like, I had a career in social work before I became an entrepreneur, and
Mhm.
so it's really special at this time to be doing that work and to be helping other people and
Mm.
for my entire focus not to be about me and my family and how we can build our kingdom, but how we're giving back to, like, I'm giving back to other people who really need me and
Mhm.
need my voice and my gifts right now for their own lives, and
Right.
so I feel very thankful for that work as well.
Love that for you, sis. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, like, just the fully you surrendering and not trying to and, following God and allowing God to lead. A lot of times we try to make things happen or we allow for our mind to say, "Girl, don't even look for a job because," like you said, because that's just you going backwards or, "No, it's not. No, it's not." Like, you fully surrendered to God, and God is like, "Listen, I did not give you these gifts and talents for nothing. I gave them to you for a purpose, for a reason. And this is the season to fulfill that." So I am so happy for you, sis. Oh my gosh. Hug, like
Thank you.
internet hug.
Good. I just hit 6 months. I started in January
Yay.
and I love it. And it was so funny is one of my mentors was like, "Okay, so like when are you gonna quit the job? You got the house, you guys are good." And I was like, "I don't think I'm going to.
Oh,
I actually really like the
oh,
job." Yeah, I was like, "I'm here for it." And it's good for my family. It's good for the stability and the consistency and it
mhm,
calls me to show up in a different way.
mhm,
And it also just puts things in perspective. I think that being on the internet and working on the internet can be a very interesting experience, and I
yeah,
think sometimes we can, like, lose touch with reality, and I love what I get to do, and I've had so many beautiful experiences and
mhm,
opportunities, and the money
mhm,
has been incredible, but I do life with people in real life. So it's just been really nice to get back to community
mhm,
and just, like, stabilizing myself in a little more reality. I'm
mhm.
not saying, like, social media is not real, but I am saying that social media is not real,
Right.
and it's nice to have the balance of, I get to do this
Mhm.
instead of I have to do this because my family is relying on me to do it so that we can eat. That has been nice. The pressure coming off has been nice.
And you can definitely tell the creators that I mean, I can. I can tell
I
with
feel
their
beauty.
with their con that they have to do this. Like this is something that they have to do versus something that they just do because they
Yeah.
do. You can definitely tell it. And I mean, since, I've been kind of like treading that line, it's been probably almost 2 years since I said, you know what, I'm not going to do this social media influencer stuff anymore. Like, I'm just like, I think I just cold turkey one time, like, because my husband was like, what are you doing? Like, you're always on your phone. You're not present we're with family time or this and that. And then my kids, they got tired of seeing the camera,
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens for
you know?
sure.
It's like, okay, well, I do have a job and I just cut it. And so now I'm trying to find my groove, but I don't want to seem like I'm being forced to do it, but I want to do it. But I not only want to do it, but I want to come back with a true called out purpose.
Mhm.
I just don't wanna be on the internet just talking, like, because there are so many women out there, so many that needs to hear our voice, sis, like, they need to hear our stories. They need to hear our testimonies because they are out there and they don't know, they don't
Yeah.
know that that's not reality, they think it's real, but it's not. And so they're getting led down the wrong path. But here we're living out life, like real life, out here trusting God. You know,
Mhm.
I want to really have a true purpose on the internet and I don't want it to be wasted because it's so many women out there that are struggling
Yeah.
and they need to hear our struggles, like, we may be here, but I don't have it all together.
Right. Yeah.
I don't have it all together, like I'm out here in this season and I'm like, okay, there's some things that I need to get out because, God is pushing me to that. But I'm just like, no, Lord, ain't nobody gonna listen. But like, hey, somebody gonna
All it takes is one. All it
right.
takes is one. That makes it worth it. No, and that's good. During that time where I was feeling like I was losing everything, I pulled back and I was just like, "Okay, what do I wanna be about? How do I wanna
Mhm,
show up? What do I
mhm,
wanna speak about?" And I spent a lot of time on that, and, I have not started that content, but I have so many ideas. I really just needed to get my family in a
Mm,
house.
mhm.
But I'm really excited because I feel like I'm taking the summer off. I mean, I'm still showing up and I'm still posting, but it's
Yeah.
not like not creating organic content, like a whole lot of it. I'm just kind of like sharing what's happening. But I
Mhm.
plan to hit it pretty hard in the fall and I'm really looking forward to it. And it's the same kind of thing. Just like what am I going to be talking about? And a lot of the content that I want to be sharing is about I grew up in foster care. I was placed in care when I was born. And, I aged out at 18, and
Mhm.
I feel like I've better part of from 18 till about now, figuring out who I am and where I fit, and I think in the last couple years, I realized that actually, like, home and family starts here.
Yep, yep.
It's really, like, what God has been, like, really, like, pouring in and sowing into me, and I just really wanna talk about that journey of
Mhm.
the shift for me of when I stopped looking out and I started looking in
Mhm.
and how confidence that gave me
Mhm.
and how rooting that was for me.
Mhm.
And once I, like, rooted myself in myself, how much easier it was for me to show up for everybody else,
Mhm.
and the benefit of that, of me, like,
Yeah.
really knowing myself, how that's impacted everyone around me. So that's kinda where my content is gonna go, is just, like, we're looking out, grabbing for everything else,
Yeah.
and it's right here, but it's just so hard. It's scary to face ourselves. It's hard to face ourselves.
We each have a story, and I remember when I had first started, I think I did, like, a poll, and someone said that I was stuck up and they didn't know much about me, and I'm like, "Oh, man, like, am I, like, showing up here and people think that I'm polished and all of this and all of that?" I'm like, "Because I don't want to." And I mean, they said it in a nice way, but pretty much when it all boiled down to, like, they said I was stuck up.
Girl, you a snob.
And then, like, "Yeah, I know you're a minister, but we don't we don't really know how to move around, how to, like, navigate around you." I'm like, "Listen, y'all, I am human. I am human." And so that is, like, what I want, "Hey, I am human, and I'm just out here sharing my testimony." This year 18, is a very pivotal year for me because it is my son turns 18. I was pregnant with him when I had cancer. After he was born, I was given 18 months to live. So to see him 18 years old going off to college. So, I think this is and not that I think I know, this is an emotional year for me too. So that's probably why I'm going through like the ebbs and flows and the emotions and, all of that because doctor said that I wouldn't live to see this day.
You was not gonna see none of this. Wow.
But God,
Yeah, he's good.
but God said I should have life and have it more abundantly. So,
Mm.
I'm just like, how dare I not share my testimony? And so with you, like God has brought you from a mighty long way. So he has given you that testimony. Like we are known by our testimonies. That's how we're going to reach women who want to be reached. See, that's what I'm learning too. Cause some of them don't want to be reached.
Yeah.
So I know that we talked about a lot, but what is, one thing that you would like to leave with that you just want to encourage your fellow thriving sister that's listening, that's watching today?
Well, that's good. Well, one, like if you are listening to this, if you are awake right now, if you are alive right now, there's something for you to do. It's just period, plain and simple. Like if you are breathing, there is a grace on your life and you need to get to whatever it is that the Lord is telling you to do.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting because a lot of us will complain and we'll be like, I don't understand why this thing is not working. And it's like, what was the last thing that God told you to do? Have you done it
Mhm.
yet? You know? So whatever it is that you are wrestling with in your fingers and you're wondering about or you're frustrated about because you're not seeing the results, well, are you actually showing up to the moment and doing the last thing that you've been asked to do? A lot of times I think that's where we get hung up. We hear God and we know what we're supposed to be doing, but we just don't. And we're afraid and we're scared and we feel like we're stuck or we feel like he's withholding and he's not. He's just waiting on us to make a move and to take action. And so if I could leave you with anything, I would say that if you're listening to this, there's clearly something that you're still here to do. If you're stuck and you're not sure, you feel like you don't know what it is that you're supposed to be doing, one, get into that secret place,
Mm,
get into that wilderness so that God can teach you, reach you, speak to you, and do the thing that he's telling you to do. And if you're
mm.
afraid, what?
Yep, do it.
Just do it. Be afraid. Like I feel like I'm always afraid. I'm afraid every time I'm up post. I mean,
Mhm,
I'm always afraid. I'm never not worried about
mhm,
what could happen, but there's not time for that. The time now is just we've got to take action. So I think that would be that's what I would want to leave people with. Like if you are on this earth still, there is work to be done and we don't have time to think about it, to be emotional about it. We just got to move.
mhm,
Time is running out. People need to hear from us, as you said, like people need to know the goodness of God. People need to know that there's still hope. Hope
mhm.
is like the only thing that's keeping us going.
That's right.
And you may be the carrier of that hope that someone is waiting on. So you gotta get to it. You gotta get
Mhm,
to work. It'd been very easy for me to be like, Tamron, I don't want to talk today. I'm tired. I've been traveling for the last 10 days. I've been 3 different places. Like, I didn't have a chance to get my makeup on, but I'm like, you know what? Today, this is what it looks like.
show up.
So I'm going to roll out of bed and I'm going to get to this podcast interview and it's going to do what it needs to do. And that just has to
Mhm,
be it. I can't be hung up on, I don't look the way that I want to look or I don't feel the way that I need to feel. There's something, if this has come to me, there's something that I'm supposed to be doing with it. And
mhm.
I can't be caught up on any of the other stuff. Just got to and do it. And that would be
That
my message, what
I
I would leave people.
and also one thing that, we do when we're leaving is a, moment of prayer, and would you do the honor of closing us out in prayer?
Now, God is funny because I don't love praying out loud. And I'm always like, Lord, I need to practice this. This is something I need to get over because it's intimidating and I hate doing it. And it's so funny. This year I was like, I need to pray more out loud. And you would ask me to do this when I am not prepared and I don't want to. Yes, I will lead us out in prayer. I don't want to do this at all. It is very intimidating. It makes me very uncomfortable, but I'm a woman who wants to thrive. And that's what we're about to do. Father, I just come to you.
Yes.
I just thank you for who you are, God. You are so faithful, Lord. You are so true. You are so kind, God. You want the best for us, and you show us. We just have to be still enough to see it, God. You are a good, faithful, loving, kind, grit, gentle Father, and you love us so much, God. And I just thank you so much for every woman who has come on this podcast, Lord, that is going to hear this conversation, Lord. I pray that it reaches the places, Lord, that they need it to reach, Lord. I pray that there is healing, Lord. I pray that there is clarity, God. I pray that there is courage to every woman who listens to this, Lord. I pray that as they come into this episode, Lord, that it meets a need that they were longing for, God, that they hear something that they can grab hold of, Lord, that they can put in their pocket, Lord, that they can bury in their heart, Lord, that they can hold on to, God. And I just thank you so much for Tamron, Lord. I thank you for her ministry, her call, God. I pray that you will give her new ideas, Lord, and that this podcast, that these conversations that she's having with women, that they will reach exactly who they are to, Lord. I thank you so much for purpose, God. I thank you so much for hope, Lord. May we grab hold of it, Lord. May we walk with boldness, Lord, towards the things that you have for us, God. We are so grateful for your love. We are so grateful for your generosity. We are so thankful for your kindness, God. And most importantly, we are so thankful for your son, who, when he died on the cross, Lord, he finished every insecurity, every fear, every doubt, every stronghold, Lord, so that we could walk in freedom, Lord. May we grab hold of that freedom every single day as you call us forth. We thank you for your son and his sacrifice on the cross, that without whom we would not have a relationship with you, Lord. We are humbled that we can come before you and that we can ask you for these things. And it is in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. That was good, sis. Yes, come on, prayer warrior.
Child, I don't know now. Let's not put no titles on it. Okay. Woo, man.
I thank you so much. Prayer can go where we can't. And so I thank you for being obedient to God. See, God works in mysterious ways.
He does, boy.
Uh,
Like, don't tell me to be on the team. I didn't ask for this.
This conversation has blessed me today. Thank you so much, sis. Please definitely tell our thriving sisters where they can follow you at, where they can see you at.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me anywhere online at It's Tosh Haynes. It's is a part of the handle. My website is www.itstoshhaynes.com. And yeah, that's where I am. TikTok, Instagram. Don't go on TikTok though. I'm too old for TikTok, but I am on Instagram, creating content on Instagram. I have a blog, I have a Substack, and you can find me by putting that in.
Thank you so much. And sis, remember that the Thrive Sister Thrive Challenge is still going. It is a self guided challenge. Once you join, you will get daily emails from me along with different devotional points from the devotional. So you do need the devotional to go along with the challenge. So you can do all of that at tamronlittle.com. And if you heard something and you're like, oh my gosh, that just stuck with me, like it's in my shanana, like share with us. And when you share it, tag us. Like we want to hear from you. And remember that nothing's too hard for God, and you have the power and the authority to command your day. So make it a good one. Love you, mean it. Ooh, that was good.